Yeah.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Cobb Chamber's very first Marquee Monday Luncheon. My name is John Loud and I'm president of Loud Security Systems, and I am honored to serve as your Cobb Chamber's 2020 chairman. Wow, I'm so glad to be back at the Coca-Cola Roxy, where we normally host our Marquee Monday, but usually on the inside. Hopefully with our 600 to 700 attendees, we can return there again soon. We have a fantastic program planned for you today. I want us to rally for our home teams. And to have a successful rally, it's all about teamwork, just as the Chamber's been rallying our business community teams. We've been putting in the right key player or member to help other businesses succeed to a victory and defeat the devastating challenges this pandemic has brought on. We've had great guiding insights from several bankers, CPA firms, Drew Tonsmeyer from the Small Business Development Center, Cobb County Chairman Mike Boyce, Mark Butler, Georgia Commissioner of Labor, United States Senator David Perdue and Congressman Barry Loudermilk have joined us. And we've even also had great team support for many of our healthcare partners. This insight helped businesses determine how they're going to communicate and coordinate with the employees, their customers, and how they are going to plan for their short and long-term business future. What got me thinking about this rally was watching how our Atlanta professional sports teams were rallying with their fan base and our community. The Atlanta Braves, for example, have given us the opportunity to relive the 1995 World Series championship, and also other teams have done pop-up tailgate virtual events where some of the star players and top team leaders have made surprise appearances. This has brought great joy and big smiles to the customers and their fans. Today we're going to get updates from the Falcons, the Atlanta Braves, the Atlanta Hawks, and also Atlanta United FC. Also in today's programming, we're going to be hearing updates on our county from our Chairman Boyce, a community health update from presenting sponsor Wellstar Health System, and an update on our chamber activities from our President and CEO, Sharon Mason. Now let me share some good news. Since mid-March, when we all got benched, Cobb County and Select Cobb, led by Dana Johnson and Kevin Greiner, have received 14 new economic development opportunities. For all of 2020, we've received a total of 19. 14 of these came in the last 6 weeks, ending on April 30th. These opportunities are companies looking to relocate to Cobb County or to expand their businesses within Cobb County. Now that's good news. Dana and his team are currently working on 68 projects throughout all areas of Cobb County. Look, we businesses have been sitting on the sidelines for weeks now, and I know we're eager to get back in the game. That's why I'm honored to be in the state of Georgia, where our governor, Governor Kemp, has given us the opportunity of choice, where you can choose to reopen your business, your church, or your organization with the right safety precautions. The updates you'll be hearing today, I hope will be uplifting for you to create your rally as you prepare to reopen and adjust to your new normal. There is nothing better than watching the home teams rally and ultimately win. Our chamber has the resources to help with any challenges that you are facing. Together, we can help you navigate and persevere through this and show the nation why for 7 years in a row, Georgia has been selected as the #1 state to do business in. At this time, I'd like to turn our program over to our two special guests as we start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm Major General Tom Carden. I'm the Adjutant General for the Georgia National Guard.
Good morning. Command Sergeant Major Roy Marshall, Senior Enlisted Leader, Georgia National Guard.
It's our honor today to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. Center, face. Present, arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms. Center, face. Have a great Marquee Monday.
Thank you for that presentation, Major General Carden and Sergeant Major Marshard. I'd like to take a moment and say thanks to our sponsors. Our year-long Marquee Monday sponsor, Superior Plumbing, and today's presenting sponsor, Wellstar Health System. I am pleased to introduce the CEO of Wellstar Health System, Candace Saunders, who will be following this brief Wellstar video.
Life is full of uncertainty, but we can assure you, you can count on Wellstar for world-class care. From emergencies to those essential care needs, we are always on call for any and every health concern you may have. On the front lines, we are fighting for the health of our communities because we are all in this together, and we are all in this for you. Wellstar, more than healthcare, people care.
These are uncertain times that we are navigating together. Over the course of my life and career, I've witnessed firsthand the unexpected turns that life can take and how coming together in times of uncertainty gives us strength and comfort. As we continue to address the COVID-19 pandemic, I am so proud of our fellow Georgians. When I see cars parked in driveways, children waving from the windows, I know that people in our communities are coming together to do the most important thing, stay home. At Wellstar Health System, we have come together to care for our patients across our 11 hospitals and facilities with expertise, compassion, and the support of our entire community. Every day we serve with the comfort that we are not alone. We will overcome this pandemic, and we will win together.
Just want to share a few thoughts and observations that I've had over the past several weeks working here at Wellstar. First, let me say that we're really honored to have this opportunity to sponsor this virtual Chamber of Commerce Marquee. But it also provides me an opportunity to recognize all the team members that we have here at Wellstar. Our 24,000 strong team members have really stepped up to the challenge. And I especially want to recognize those individuals, those caregivers that are there on the front line each and every day, taking care of our communities and each and every patient that we serve. I also want to acknowledge the community. We've experienced a tremendous outpouring of support. In my 25 years of experience, I've never seen a community come together the way I have here of recent. Government agencies, other healthcare systems across the city, and especially here in Cobb, have really been a big support to Wellstar. Right now, our focus is on ensuring that we are providing patient-safe care. We're especially focused on ensuring that we can meet our patients' needs who have been putting off care for some time now. That means that we have to have the appropriate personal protection equipment. We have to have our game on when it comes to testing, and we have to ensure that each and every team member is protected when providing that care as well. A week ago, we did start providing outpatient services again, slowly ramping those services up to ensure that patients who need our care today versus putting it off to tomorrow can come in and receive the best patient care possible. I would have to say our team is doing an amazing job. And I believe that we will see our ability will continue to increase to expand capacity and provide the care to our community that it needs. We have some amazing physician leaders here as well. Dr. Danny Branstetter, he's one of our physician leaders. He's an infectious disease physician who's been with me side by side over these last several weeks, and he's represented Wellstar in every aspect. I'd like to introduce Danny to you.
Thanks, Kim. Good afternoon. I'm Danny Branstetter. I'm an infectious disease doctor at Wellstar. I'd like to give you a brief update about the coronavirus called COVID-19. Over 3 million have been infected worldwide. In the United States, over 1.2 million. In the state of Georgia, just over 31,000. While we're seeing these numbers continue to increase, they're not doing so as a dramatic fashion as they were earlier. Testing continues to increase, and we'll see our numbers continue to rise. Fortunately, we're seeing an actual decrease in the number of hospitalizations right now. This could change. We're anticipating more infections as social restrictions are released and relaxed, but we're prepared to take care of those who do come to our hospital and need care. You've probably also heard about an antibody test. This is a blood sample that measures whether our immune system has responded to coronavirus. Both positive and negative tests can be misleading, so we're still working out how to best advise our patients with these test results. Vaccines are under development, still more word to come. Earliest, spring of 2021. There's some good news in that a drug has been approved by the FDA called remdesivir. It's made by Gilead. We're waiting for some more information to be released from the drug company to tell us exactly its benefits and which patient populations to use it in, and that will receive the largest benefit. We're also using convalescent plasma, or serotherapy. This is donated from patients who have recovered from COVID. It's a blood donation, and we take their antibodies and give it to patients who are actively infected. So please encourage community members to donate if they've recovered from COVID-19. We're also resuming time-sensitive procedures and medical visits. And I want you all to know this is being done very thoroughly and very safely. So it is safe for our communities to visit their doctors, visit their emergency rooms if they need care, and to continue to stay at home and shelter in place if you're able. Remember, the best way to control the virus for now is to stay at home, wash your hands, and wear your face mask in public. I'll now toss it to Dr. Heinz.
Thank you, Danny. I'm Jeff Heinz. I am the medical director for diversity, inclusion, and equity for the health system. I'm also a practicing gynecologic oncologist. I want to talk to you real briefly about what Wellstar is doing through the lens of equity. National studies and now a recent study from Georgia has shown that there are some vulnerable populations other than the ones that we typically knew with COVID. And those populations include Blacks and Latino patients. One of the things that Wellstar is doing is to address these vulnerable populations through the lens of equity, is to deliver specific messaging and these safety kits to help people with their social distancing and to help them with washing their hands and wearing face masks. We have found through these studies that many of these residents from these vulnerable communities have essential jobs which requires them to be out of the home. They are not able, they don't have the privilege of being able to socially distance themselves at home. So they are traveling to work on public transportation, they are coming back home to their families, and so we are trying to message to them the importance of, while they're at work, to wash their hands, to wear their mask, and when they're at home, to also wash their hands, wear their masks. In addition, we are partnering with local community advocates and organizations to pass out useful resource information and messaging about the importance of social distancing, hand washing, wearing your face masks. The relief and recovery has been tremendous, but in the future, we hope to use this momentum to pivot to one where we can initiate true change and impact. I'm going to turn it back over to Ken now. Thank you.
It's an honor and a privilege to work with fine doctors like Dr. Heinz and Dr. Branstetter. Just want to thank them very much for everything they're doing for Wellstar and our patients. Now back to you, John.
Thank you, Kim, and the Wellstar team for all that you're doing for our community. At this time, I'd like to move over to Mercedes-Benz Stadium and connect up with the president of the Atlanta United FC, Mr. Darren Eels. Welcome to Marquee Monday, Darren.
Hi, John. Yeah, great to be with you.
Well, I got to jump in with, I absolutely love, and certainly right there behind you is the slogan of Unite and Conquer. I mean, if there's ever a time to have had the strongest slogan to deal with a pandemic and a crisis like this, I was hoping you'd be able to share with us, how is Atlanta United? How have you been dealing with this crisis and pandemic? How are you planning to unite and conquer through this?
Yeah, well, look, it's been a difficult few months for us, as it has been for everyone, but I've been really proud of how our staff, the players, and our whole organisation's handled it. It's funny you mentioned about Unite and Conquer, because we've come up with United We Conquer as our strapline for the pandemic. So that's our way of trying to help rally the community to thank those people on the front lines that are dealing with this, whether it's the first responders or the nurses and healthcare professionals, or even those people that are in the grocery stores that are serving the people. So that was our rallying cry to try and help galvanise the community. But look, we're excited. This past Wednesday, we were able to start individual training back at the training ground. And that's a big step for us. It's only a first step, but at least it's a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel that, we've got our players back at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground in Marietta, and they're able to do individual training work. It's still very regulated, so, we have to obviously still have them separate. They're not training with each other, but at least it gives them a chance to get back on the training pitch. So that's been a real positive for us. And, we're still hoping to play a full season in Major League Soccer. One of the advantages we had in Major League Soccer was that we were right at the start of our season. So there's still the opportunity for us to be able to tinker with the schedule, even extend the schedule if we need to be able to get a full season in. So we're still hopeful and working towards that. But, we're working through this. We're lucky to have strong leadership. As you know, Arthur Blank is our owner. Across the Brank family of businesses, there's ourselves, the Falcons, PJ Superstores. We've tried to be consistent, transparent communication with all of our associates. So one of the things we've done, Atlanta United, we're a little bit different from the other businesses. We're a bit younger in terms of our demographics. And so we've been doing pop-up pubs, which is our way of, on a Wednesday, 5:00, trying to engage all of our fans on a Zoom call, pop-up pub, karaoke going on, trivia, but just little things like that to keep the human connection, because everyone's been doing a fantastic job working from home. But I think what we all miss is that camaraderie and that ability to connect. So we've been trying to work on ways that we could do that.
So Darren, as you just mentioned, last Wednesday, each of the individual players began to start to practice and reconditioning. While we're on, I guess I know everybody out there is wondering, do you have any fantastic, amazing news to give us an update for Joseph Martinez?
No, look, Joseph, obviously we had sad that he had the ACL tear when we started the season. The great thing for us was we were able to actually get the operation done with one of the top surgeons. He did Zlatan Ibrahimovic, a famous football player's knee, and we got that operation done just in time before actually the pandemic hit, and it would have meant that we'd had to have delayed that operation. So the operation went really well. Joseph's back now rehabilitating at the training ground, and the great thing about Joseph, as you know, John, he's 110% committed. He's the sort of guy that he scores 5 goals and he's upset about the 6th goal that he could have scored. He is someone that is focused on coming back, and hopefully, he's going to be back 110%. So, he's excited to get back. Obviously, it's still a long road ahead, but we're really pleased the operation went really well.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic news. And, as we're sitting here talking to Atlanta's most recent champion, obviously the 2018 champion of Major League Soccer, and he was obviously a critical part of that. So I know the entire fan base is looking forward to his reuniting with the team. I guess a question with that, with your 5 stripes and community engagement, you've shared a little bit about how you've been engaging the fan base. Can you share if there's some other things there, or how you've been community engaging?
Yeah, well, in terms of our fan base, it's been an opportunity for us to try and get creative with content. So, one of the things we've been doing, like the other sporting clubs, is sharing those special moments. Now, we have a short history, but we're able to share, for example, the MLS Cup victory against Portland in 2018. So, that's been really good. And it was quite nice last week when that game was being aired, our supporters groups had virtual tailgates. So one of our supporters groups called Footy Mob, they were having a virtual tailgate. So I normally walk around the tailgates before our matches when we play at Mercedes-Benz. So I Zoom bombed into their tailgate just to chat with them. And of course, it's not the same as being there with them, but it was just a great way for us to share some memories about that and the tailgate before that 2018 Cup. We just started a podcast. So myself and Matt Moore, the head of our digital began a podcast. That's gone really well. We've had people like Michael Vick was a guest. We even had Rich Mckay, president of the Falcons, joined us for a pre-draft one. So that's been something where we're trying to give our fans any content we can, a sort of little look behind the scenes. The other big one for us, John, has been Spike. So Spike's our service dog in training. He was our new signing in the off-season. So he is someone that's been uplifting, uniting our fan base. You know, our fans love him. The engagement we get on social media is crazy. And we're trying to communicate. So one of the other things we've done is virtual town halls with our season ticket members. So that's a chance for them we did one last week, myself, Carlos Bocanegra, our technical director, Brad Guzan, our goalkeeper, Mike Conti, who's our voice on 92.9 The Game. And it's just a chance for us to update our fans and keep them connected. So there's all the things we're doing on the fan side of things. On the community, I mentioned our United We Conquer initiative. So we've done some things like we put billboards up outside the hospitals like Piedmont, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, thanking our frontline workers. We've been helping Soccer in the Streets, our charity partner that we work with. We've given them funding to keep them going because they need to be able to keep going while there's this pandemic crisis going on. And then, of course, Arthur Blank leads by example, and he made a donation of $5 million to COVID relief here in Atlanta as well as Montana, where we have a ranch. We followed that up with a 30,000 donation to Aberdeen Football Club in Scotland. So Aberdeen is our partner club. We have a shareholding with them. They've been hit with a double whammy because they're the oil capital of Europe. So they've not only had issues with COVID-19, but also with the oil and problems there with the businesses. So that's our sort of way that we've been trying to use this opportunity to be a rallying point really for the community and help to do whatever we can.
That's absolutely fantastic. I also saw some of your social media where purchasing of face masks was going to Feed America and other food banks such as Canada and so forth. So thank you for all you're doing to keep the community engagement and give back in such a way. I guess another question is, look, we've got 2020. As you mentioned earlier, you're hoping to still have a full season. All these businesses right now from the Cobb Chamber and the Metro Atlanta area are working so hard to be able to prepare to reopen in a safe facet. Can you share some insights as to what 2020 may be looking like for your reopening?
Yes, look, I mean, it's difficult because like everyone else in all sort of walks of life, it's hard to know what the future holds. So we're all sort of flying a little bit blind at this stage as to know what the final sort of situation is going to be. For us, like I said, with Major League Soccer, our hope is still to play that full season. But, we're looking at a number of options. That might be extending our season beyond, at the moment, it would finish in November. But perhaps we, take that even into perhaps 21 if we had to. We're looking at the possibility of Commissioner Garber talked about a neutral venue tournament. That might be a way for us to kick off in a neutral site where we bring all the teams together and play there. So we're looking to be creative. I think it's been really interesting for me because coming from my background in the Premier League in England and dealing with European football, in a way we have a big advantage. The advantage we have is, firstly, we're a younger league. So I think, there's a sense that we can be more creative. We're not weighted down by history. So I think, we can be agile. We can be, we can adapt to the situation. We don't have relegation, which is something that's causing a real problem with European soccer because, that has a real implication. So if you finish a season early in Europe, there's going to be lawsuits about teams that get relegated. We don't have that in Major League Soccer. So we have that ability to try and be flexible, and that's certainly what we're going to do. And I think you've seen that with our return to training last week. Wednesday, Atlanta United, we were one of 3 clubs that were the first to come back. It was ourselves, Miami, and Sporting Kansas City. And we're trying to do that the right way. So it's really important that we do that safely and we do it in the right manner. But, it's something that I think we feel like is a small step towards that path to getting back to playing games in front of fans, which is what we all want.
Absolutely. Well, a huge thank you. And today I'll share with you the Cobb Chamber. We've talked a lot this year about Together We Can, kind of uniting from the businesses working together, which is where, again, unite and conquer, right in the parallel. So I appreciate your slogan. I appreciate your passion, the insights you've been able to give us. And thank you so much for joining us today here on Marquee Monday. And looking forward to seeing you back down at Mercedes-Benz Stadium as soon as we possibly can. But let's all unite and conquer through this crisis and this pandemic. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and now you see we are at State Farm Arena, and I've got the wonderful opportunity to introduce to you the CEO of the Atlanta Hawks, and I'd like to say welcome to Marquee Monday. Good afternoon, Sir Steve. Thanks for joining us.
You're killing me with teasing about being at the arena. It's going on 9 weeks now that we haven't been there, but in our virtual world, it's great to have you.
Well, Steve, the first question I'd like to ask you, you guys were practically in the middle of a three-point shot, and all of a sudden the lights went out in the arena. I think when the NBA was the first to announce, the rest of the American sports nation turned around and said, what? The NBA did what? Could you bring us through kind of that time and what transpired over those days, and maybe bring us up to date as to where we are now?
Well, you're right. We were in a multi-overtime game with the Knicks, and it was a game we were down by 20 in the second half and came roaring back, and Trey had a phenomenal game. But we went to one of the clubs in the back to see the president's speech, which was at 9 o'clock that night. And next thing we know, we started getting alerts on our phones, and our phones were going crazy that the Oklahoma City-Utah game had been postponed. And it took about 6 or 7 minutes to figure out that one of the players, Rudy Gobert, actually had COVID-19. And from that moment on, it was a little bit of insanity. And even later that night, the New Orleans Pelicans game was stopped before it started because there was a referee who had recently refereed a Utah game. So we immediately knew the NBA was suspending operations. We went into a very quick mode of what do we need to do? So the first thing we wanted to do is take care of our people. So we've kept everybody part-time, full-time, everybody paid for all events through the end of our fiscal year, which is June 30th. And then we wanted to make sure our community was safe. And what could we do to help our community? And we've done a lot of things in food insecurity that we'll talk about today.
Well, a big thank you for that commitment. We all understand in the business world, look, you've got 2,600 chamber members here and a lot of viewers from all around Metro Atlanta, as we love to rally behind sport and support the our Atlanta sports teams. But for you guys to rally around your employees to pay them through the end of the fiscal year, a huge thank you for doing that for your workforce also. But as this has kind of been transpiring, could you share with us how have you been engaging with your fan base, and how have you guys been engaging with your community?
Well, so let's start with community. We think food insecurity is one of the bigger problems. A lot of kids get fed 2 of their best meals during the day while they're in school, and now we're out of school. And then our seniors have a problem. And so we started with a company called Gooder. Gooder is a food preservation company that we were able to give 12,000 pounds of food from the arena the night that we were shut down. We had 5 events in 6 days planned. So we even had 400 pounds of lettuce, because you're feeding on a mass scale. And in conversations with the leadership of Gooder, we came up with the idea with them to build pop-up grocery stores. And so we've built 28 Hawks courts throughout Atlanta, tied in with Parks and Recreation Center to give kids a safe, good place to play. And those courts and adjacent to those courts have now turned into pop-up grocery stores where people can register, drive through, and get 2 weeks of groceries, meat, produce, fruits, vegetables, snacks, cereals for free. And so we've done 9 of those, and we've also moved to senior food delivery, and we've delivered, I think, over 168,000 pounds of food to seniors in our community who can't leave the house but desperately need food resources. And then we came up with another idea. One of our ownership group had a really good idea called Healthcare Heroes. And we knew that when our hospital workers, our frontline COVID fighters are at work, they have food through the cafeteria and food service of the hospitals. But if you remember early on in this virus, that people were not happy to see people in scrubs walk into grocery stores. And can you imagine coming off a 12, 14-hour shift, and now you got to go plan dinner for your family? So we had 2 goals. We wanted to put a lot of restaurant workers, ranchers, farmers, bakers back to work. So we got a group of restaurants, And we made meals, multiple meals, that when you got off your shift at the hospital, you would have dinner for two to take home. And so Stuart Satterfield, who is a James Beard Award chef, toned down the James Beard of it all and brought healthy, nutritious, wonderful meals. And we'll do 30,000 meals at Emory and all their outlets, Grady, and other hospitals that we're ongoing and feed them as we speak.
Wow, that is fantastic. I mean, what a great way. Look what you guys are going through. And at the same time, you're thinking about our community and taking care of others. Happy to share too, the Cobb Chamber ended up creating a program called Operation Meal Plan, where we matched 20 some odd restaurants with 20 some odd nonprofits through the Cobb Community Foundation. Have delivered close to 17,000 meals at this time also.
That's spectacular.
That is. So share with us about fan engagement. You know, they're on the edge of their seats. They're looking to stay engaged. Obviously, everybody's hoping the lights turn back on tomorrow. Share with us how you guys have kept them engaged.
Well, one of the unique parts about the Hawks is the youth of our audience. So channels like Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok have become, even an elder like me now understands all of those very, very well, because we're doing a tremendous amount of content, whether it's Trey's three-point challenge with socks, or recently to celebrate The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan and Chicago Bulls documentary, 10-part documentary on ESPN. We had, for our season ticket members, an exclusive interview. David Aldridge, a leading NBA journalist who was in the documentary, interviewed Isaiah Thomas, Patrick Ewing, and of course our own Dominique Wilkins. And so we've been creating different kinds of content pieces and different programs, like the Hawks Home Court, which we will have virtual summer camp with basketball skills and a whole variety of pieces available for kids and families this summer. Our head coach, Lloyd Pierce, has been doing clinics all over the state of Georgia with high school and AAU and college and even ESPN basketball coaches and critics teaching skills. And we've taken the power of this virtual world that we're now just tapping into and trying to bring basketball for all, as well as just light moments of fun and entertainment. And our social media has been doing really, really well.
That's wonderful. It's great to have those reminiscing times while you're home with family, looking back, thinking about where you were when those games were being played. So pretty wonderful experience there. I guess as we think of 2020 now, you know, what is the forecast? Where do you feel like we are now? Where do you hope to see us given some of the upcoming things in the pipeline?
You know, I wish I could give you a detailed answer, but there's just so much doubt right now. I don't know when we'll go back to play. I don't know if we go back to play with fans or without fans. What I do know is that the NBA has historically made very, very smart, good decisions. And we can't just think of Atlanta. We have to think of 30 metropolitan areas, including Canada. So now we have another country involved and their healthcare rules. So I hope that, you know, in the next short while, we'll start to get clarity. But right now, it's a little foggy on what the next steps in the future hold.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for joining us here today at Marquee Monday. The insight, I tell you, is so many businesses right now are starting to try to figure out how to reopen, what those steps are. I know you guys are going through those exact same steps. What does it look like to have fans in the stands? And I can imagine when you've got the complexity of dealing with other countries and other states and other governors, it doesn't rest in just one seat there for a minute.
But I do want to thank the great fans from Cobb County. Lived in Cobb County for 27 years, and it's a remarkable place. So thank you for having me.
All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to head on over to Mercedes-Benz and meet up with Rich Mckay, the president and CEO of the Atlanta Falcons. Hold on, let's see. All right, fantastic. It feels great to be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium here. Rich Mckay, welcome to Marquee Monday. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Well, we want to get an opportunity to check in with you and the Falcons organization. Obviously, you guys, during this time of crisis and pandemic, we're still kind of getting ready for preseason for you, but wanted to see if you could give us an update and see what it's been like for the Falcons organization going through this time.
So I think my answer to that would be it's been business as unusual. So most people would say usual, but I'm going to say unusual. The good thing for us has been time. We have a lot of time before our season. The interesting thing for us is we stayed on our schedule. We have not changed our off-season schedule. We opened up with free agency that started right on time. We moved to a draft that a lot of people pushed back on and thought we couldn't conduct, and we ended up doing it virtually. We're doing our off-season training with our players. That's all virtual. We've never done that before. We're doing off-season training with the players virtually. So we've had a full slate, and it's been in our typical pattern. It's just not been typically achieved.
So, Rich, would you share some insight for us on the 2020 schedule that was released last Thursday and give us some of your thoughts, please?
This isn't the first time I've seen a schedule come out, and I am in the same position I always am. I think at the end of the day, what you have to do internally is say, hey, remember, they have to play us. But let's not get too worried about who they are. Let's worry about us and what we have to do. I think in this one, the league's thought about a lot of alternatives and things that may come, and that led to the probably a little bit of the schedule that was presented to us. But what I like for our fans is we're going to be in the division of the quarterbacks, and that is going to make life fun. I mean, when you have the quarterback that you have in Tampa and Tom Brady, when you have Drew Brees, and then when you have Teddy Bridgewater in Carolina, and we have Matt Ryan, we are the division of the quarterbacks, and that will make the year a lot of fun. And the schedule will present its challenges, but we like it, and we certainly like opening at home. We think that's a fun way to open the season, and hopefully we'll open it with a lot of fans and to a lot of fanfare.
That's great. With the, your fan engagement, your community engagement, since things have been kind of during that off season, has there been some different ways that you guys have been communicating with your fan or community engagement that's different?
So let me start with fan engagement, right? Our season ticket holders. One thing that situations like this do is they cause you to look back and maybe innovate in ways that actually ends up being better. So for us, we started with this idea that our fans always want engagement. They're always asking for engagement. And one of their asks is always, can we get person to person? And it's always hard because we can't get enough scale, right, John? I mean, we end up having these events for 200 people or 500 people, but we have, 65,000 season ticket holders. Well, what this situation has done for us is we have found ways to connect to them in ways we never thought. We've been doing these call sessions with them. We have 5,000 people on a call. They're able to ask questions live. We answer them live. I do it from my house. Thomas does it from his house. Dan's done it from his house. We've taken that, and then we took this technology, right? This is Zoom technology or Teams technology, whichever you may use, and we're now doing live interviews with our draft picks, with all of our season ticket holders. We had an event with 10,000 of them on one Zoom call where they could see the draft picks, see them interviewed live, see an exchange with Thomas with them, our general manager, asking them questions we've never done before. Will we do it again? You bet we will. Will we take some of those things we used to do and never do those again? You bet we will not do those again. So we've really tried to innovate. And I think our connection to our fans it's really panned out well.
Wow, those are some awesome numbers. I'm sure the fan bases, they're starving for sports, and obviously being season ticket loyal holders that way are looking forward to this season. I guess one thing, you guys have had a lot of great news from our new schedule announcement, from all the draft excitement that's gone on. What a great success that turned out to be. So give us a little bit of a forecast as to what you think the rest of 2020 could hopefully look like.
Yeah, so I think the thing that we have really focused on, and I think has served us well, John, is what we try to say is let's just deal with right now. Let's deal with what we're doing, and we call it the now normal. Some people are talking about this new normal. We're calling it the now normal because we're really dealing with whatever's confronting us now. So we haven't got caught up in the training camp and the regular season and fans we haven't got caught up in any of that speculation. We've all dealt with how do we get to next week? And what do we have to do to get to next week to stay on our schedule? And that served us well. And we're not going to really leave that space. We expect, a memo came out last week talking about our facilities and opening up, and that's going to happen, and it's going to happen soon. So let's get back into the opening facility. Then we'll get players back potentially to work out. And then, we'll just keep moving along that way, John. We can't predict what's coming next in this because it's all new. There's no playbook. So let's just deal with the here and now, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well, that's exactly. And look, you guys are a business organization. It happens to be your service is sports. So for our Cobb Chamber with 2,600 businesses, and this is for all the entire fan base that's Metro Atlanta area. We know we've got viewers from all over and even outside the area. We are absolutely rallying for our home teams. We know that we love to unite around sports, and we are looking forward to the day that we can see the Falcons, whether it's on TV and certainly even more so in person back here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Thank you so much for joining us for Marquee Monday, Rich. Greatly appreciate it. And if there's anything we can do in a business community to help you, please let us know. We are here to be able to partner with you in so many different ways.
Appreciate it. Rise up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, next, let's take a quick jaunt over to Truist Park and catch up with Derek Schiller, the president and CEO of the Atlanta Braves Baseball Club. And welcome to Marquee Monday, Derek. I hope you are doing well and staying healthy, sir.
Thank you, John. Good to be here. I wish we were all together, but this is the next best thing, so it'll have to suffice.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. Well, I know, look, the Braves Baseball Organization is a business just like the 2,600 other businesses that the Cobb Chamber represents. And I also want to thank you for serving on our Cobb Chamber Board of Directors this year. But I'd love to get some insight from you to tell us what it's been like since March developed. You guys are in the middle of spring training. Things are proceeding very well, getting ready to welcome you guys back to Atlanta. And things have changed a little bit. So bring us up to date if you could.
Okay. Well, first of all, we completed about 2/3 of our spring training season. We were, of course, doing spring training from our new spring training home, which is just outside of Sarasota in Northport, Florida. And we had about 2/3 of that season completed. And I think it was about March 13th that we officially shut down. And so we missed out on the remaining spring training games. And then, of course, the opening of our season. And so we've yet to play a regular season game. It's been really hard for obviously our entire organization. And I think, what we're all realizing, myself and probably everybody here watching is really what an important part of the community sports is. And obviously, it probably didn't need to take a pandemic to figure that out. But in our situation, we're really missing out on Braves baseball. Our fans are missing out on it. And we're hopeful, though, that we're going to get the season back underway at some point in time.
That's fantastic. I tell you what, being an A-list member for many years, and so glad to have you guys in Cobb. But I know you guys have a fan base all throughout Metro Atlanta area and completely throughout the Southeast. So share with us, if you will, how have the Braves still been engaging with their Braves country fan base?
So we have a variety of fan engagement initiatives that we've undertaken since March 13th. It's really important that we remind people that we're still out there. There's still the prospect of a season, but until that point in time, we're really relying on a lot of different things, not the least of which is replaying our old games. So if you're watching Fox Sports South or Fox Sports Southeast, you can watch some of the old games. A week plus ago, we did the 1995 World Series replay and culminated with the end of that, which was a really fun deal, a virtual Zoom happy hour with a number of the members of the 95 team. So that was kind of a fun way to sort of celebrate 95, get some really cool stories. If you didn't see that Zoom happy hour, I'd encourage you to go look at that on YouTube. That had a lot of fun stories coming out of that. But then we also have a number of things that we're doing with current team. So we're trying to do engagements with our current roster, our players, our coach, and a variety of others, Alex Anthopoulos, our president GM, and really trying to figure out ways that we can stay connected during this time. A lot of it's storytelling or giving, updates on what the players are doing at their houses, a variety of different things that have come out of that. I saw Luke Jackson, one of our bullpen pitchers, relief pitchers, he ended up building his own pitching mound that he uses on his driveway. Ironically, he was the same person that participated in a virtual esports type of deal that we did with one of the MLB video games, The Show, which was also fun and a good way to engage, in particular, some of the young fans. So we're doing a lot of things that are out there, but obviously, it's nothing like the real thing, being together at Truist Park and being one-on-one with everybody. But until that point in time, until it's safe to do, we're going to continue to do those types of things.
I'll tell you what, the unique thing about sports, of course, it's not about a political thing, or it's not about an environment of are we open too early or not, but everybody out there is looking to rally for the home team. And to hear those cheers and some of the replays that you guys have been providing has been a neat way for families to kind of reunite, gather, remember where we were, what that excitement was, what the city of Atlanta Metro, the energy that was going on and the pulse of that. So it kind of makes us celebrate those times, but certainly even miss more dearly where we are. But I guess another thing, a huge thanks to the Atlanta Braves Foundation, to the Braves organization. You guys have been such a committed partner all throughout the Metro Atlanta area in the ways that you guys engage, not only with the players, but as an organization through community effects. Could you share maybe some of the engagements? I know I've seen a few along the way, but if you could share with folks here today at our virtual Marquee Monday, some updates there.
Sure. So one of the first things that we thought about was, of course, in addition to the way that our organization, our full-time employees and others, our players, have been impacted, is that we've had a lot of our ballpark workers that have been impacted. And so a number of weeks ago, we set out to create a disaster relief fund that sits inside of the Atlanta Braves Foundation. The Atlanta Braves committed $1 million to that. Truist committed another $250,000, and then we received a lot of donations from the community and even from season ticket holders. And we've since dispersed over $1.35 of $1.4 million to our ballpark workers. Really proud of the effort of our organization, led by Danielle Badassi, who runs our foundation, a number of people who worked with her to really get those checks out to those ballpark workers. So we've distributed 1,600 plus checks to those ballpark workers that are in effect not receiving any funds from the work that they typically do. And of course, there are frontline employees. We really care deeply about how they're doing during this period of time. In addition, we've got a number of programs that we're doing out there that engage the community. One of the, I'll call it fun ones, but sort of one that you may not necessarily think about, is we had all that food that was ready to go, food and beverage for our April games. And so we've redeployed that in the form of taking that food, using our commissary, using our kitchen facilities, and cooking that for the community. We've committed to donating 50,000 meals out there, about 10,000 per week. And those go to a variety of needy places throughout Metro Atlanta, in particular here in Cobb, where you've got places like Musk Ministries, the YMCA, the VA, and others that are receiving these meals in a time and a place that they need to do so. So really proud of our efforts with Delaware North and that. And we've got some other meal programs that we're doing. And then, really just trying to stay active and engaged and doing a variety of donations and efforts throughout the community. So that's really important during this period of time. Again, it's a reminder of what the Atlanta Braves mean to the organization, or to the community, and ways that we can impact our broader community.
Yes, thank you for sharing. I definitely have heard many of those examples. The chamber with so many community partners have Operation Meal Plan, and you guys have been a partner with that. Helping 20 some odd restaurants stay in business and active, with 20 plus nonprofits making the match for what our community needs have been. So thank you so much for that. But let's do a little forecasting here for 2020. Together we're all in this. Look, I've got Truist Park behind me right now. Looking forward to a day to celebrate, hopefully within this calendar year to get there. But how's the team? What's going on with some of the players, or where do you think we may be looking at for a calendar? I know it's not fully there yet, but share with us what you may be able to. Okay, well, the first thing I would say is if you were to peer into the ballpark reel, as opposed to that image behind you, what you'd find is a field that is ready to play. We've done our best to make sure that the grass is green and the facility is ready to go. We've initiated a number of different safety protocols within the facility, so at the time and place that we're ready to host people, including our players, into the facility, that we're going to be ready to go. Obviously, like a lot of businesses, we've got
whole new regime as it relates to sanitization and health efforts, safety efforts. So we will be ready at the point in time that Major League Baseball initiates the season. At this point in time, the league has in essence said that the April and May games are technically postponed. So we began a process of initiating refunds and exchanges for those games. They're not technically canceled. And part of the reason for that is, we still believe that there's going to be an ability to preserve a high number of games of the 2020 season. And until that number gets cleared up, until we really understand what we can do in the form of rescheduling games, and whether it be off days or double headers or extensions of the season, all the different contingency plans that we have, we don't want to cancel too many games or any that may actually end up coming back. I think there's a great deal of optimism that we will play games in 2020. You've probably read about a number of the different contingency efforts that are out there. They range everything from playing in one location, kind of a quarantine environment, to multiple quarantine environments, to just playing in our home ballpark. Obviously, our preference is to play in our home ballpark because that's where people know to watch Atlanta Braves baseball. And we're very proud of Truist Park, very proud of the Battery, what it represents, and we'd like to play here, but we'll obviously do the right thing and do whatever MLB thinks is the safest and best way to get the season started again. I know our players have been staying in shape. As I mentioned, a number of them have come up with unique ways to stay in shape, probably a lot of home gym equipment that has been purchased over the past month or two. But in addition to that, I would suspect that when the season does get started again, there will be another, call it, training period that takes place prior to the new opening day, and gives our pitchers a chance to stretch out a little bit, and also all the other players to get in a place of readiness. I think we're working really hard, the entire organization, towards that effort, working closely with Major League Baseball, the commissioner's office, and everybody involved, including the state and the county, and really just trying to do the right thing and make sure that if we do start up again, it's going to be done in a safe and effective way. We don't want to get started and then have to stop again. So we really are though optimistic about getting started and ultimately resuming the great Braves baseball here at Truist Park.
Well, Derek, I can't thank you so very, very much. I mean, just as you guys have been such a professional organization and caring for your guests throughout the stadium year after year, I know as all of us businesses out here are kind of taking our steps to do our reopening, we are here to support you guys in any way. And of course, we're looking forward to coming out to that ballpark when that time is right and safety is right. And thanks again so much for joining us here on Marquee Monday. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John, and thank you everybody for having me wherever this might come to you at. I do want to say also thank you to everybody who's continued to support the Braves and the Braves organization, the Battery. I know a lot of businesses are falling on tough times. Obviously, this has impacted our business. I think one of the great ways that we can ultimately usher in normalcy back into our community is when that Atlanta Braves are playing a game at Truist Park. I hope that happens sooner rather than later. Until that happens, I really appreciate everybody's support. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. And thank you to all the sports teams to be able to rally with us during a time like this. Some of my takeaways were to be brave, let's rise up, unite and conquer through the COVID-19. And no better person to turn to next is our president and CEO of the Cobb Chamber of Commerce, Sharon Mason, to give us an update on how we're working together to help in such a manner. Sharon?
Thank you, John. John and I know how tough this has been on our entire community with this crisis. And that is why your chamber, we have been focused and will continue to be focused on helping you and providing the advocacy, the support, and the resources every step of the way. That's also why John, as well as our chair-elect, Britt Fleck of Georgia Power, and I, we formed our Economic Recovery Task Force. And we brought a group together, and we are focused and have been meeting weekly since March. We are focused on providing short-term and long-term solutions to help this community with the recovery. And so many great things have come from this task force already. This group has helped us in providing the weekly business recovery webinars and gathering input so we can better understand how to best support this community, and helping with our advocacy positions and how we can best support and champion this community. in providing resources for our one-stop COVID-19 resource page, as well as helping us with our reopening guidelines. And those reopening guidelines I know have helped many of you as you've been reopening or as you're in the process of reopening, and we'd love for more of you to utilize them. They're such a great resource thanks to the help of this task force and Cobb and Douglas Public Health, so you can reopen safely with your customers and your employees at the forefront of that. Also on our COVID-19 resource page is an event attendance survey, and we encourage you, please fill this out as soon as possible this week. It is something that will help us as we're planning in-person events to get your feedback and to take that into account so we can continue making sure that your health and the health of all is our top priority. Also, I want to take a moment to thank our amazing community. I could not be more proud of this community and how all have stepped up to work together in this crisis. And it is so true that together we can and we will overcome this. And I especially want to thank our healthcare heroes and our frontline workers who have been absolutely critical in this crisis. And if you haven't already sent a thank you note to them, please do so. We have some instructions for you on our COVID-19 website page, and I encourage you to check that out. We also have a lot of other great resources, so be sure to visit cobbchamber.org. And at this time, it is my privilege to turn it over to our Cobb Board of Commissioners Chairman, Mike Boyce, who has been instrumental in this crisis and a tremendous partner.
Hey, hello, I'm Mike Boyce. I'm the Chairman of the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, and I want to say hello to everybody. Hope that you're all doing well and that you're staying safe. I think that now they're almost 2 months into this pandemic here in the county, that you all know the precautions that we have to take, and I believe that from what I'm seeing and hearing here in the county, just about everybody understands what those are, and they're taking the necessary steps to make sure they're not jeopardizing themselves or their family or their friends. Just to go to bring you up to date on where we are in the county government, we are slowly starting to reshape the way that we do operations here in the future. We'll have a lot more people working from home. We're using 21st century technology to stay in contact with people, both people like the chamber, business people at home, town halls, you name it. It's a whole new way of doing business, but I'm very comfortable with it. I'm really encouraged to hear that people are adapting to this new norm here. But we will, in fact, slowly start bringing people back into the buildings that are there. But the good news is that there have been many departments here in the county that have still been working 100%. And the beauty of Cobb County is, as I've said on many occasions, the highest compliment you can pay someone like me is you don't know who I am, because that means that I'm doing my job. And for the last 2 months, Cobb County and its employees have been running in the background. They've been doing amazing things. And if you step back and think about it, what have you seen in your county that you've been living in here or work here or visit here that's any different than before? The answer is probably very little, because that's how good our staff is. I'm just really, really proud of them. And they're all very brave people, because as soon as they leave their home to come to work, if they have to leave their home, they're stepping into the COVID environment, and they're taking a chance with their life by responding to their call for public service. And that's why I cannot say enough good things about our public servants. Obviously, on the business side of it, we got $132 million from the federal government. And in there's various programs that you may be eligible for, including incentives or perhaps some other programs to help shore up businesses. And I've heard a couple of commissioners already say they're going to support something like that. So for the next couple of weeks here in May, we'll be coming together as a board, using a straw man put together by the staff as what's the best use of this $132 million. And I just want to emphasize that's not the only funding we've been getting from the federal government. We got a separate pot of money from the Federal Transit Authority Administration for our bus system. As you know, we don't charge revenue for the buses anymore. You can ride them for free. And with loss of revenue, that dips into the county's general fund. So the good news, the federal government's given us some money to offset that. We've got additional CDBG money, community development and block grants, and community services block grants. And this is to deal what I call, from my faith walk, the least in the lost, sometimes the marginalized. But there's becoming a greater population of people that are marginalized now, particularly in the service industry. Think about all the hotels that have had to close, all the restaurants that had to close. People who work there work very hard, usually for minimum wage, and I'm sure that they're not prepared to deal with an unemployment situation for more than a month or two, if that long. So we're going to be working on a program here with the board to see what kind of support we can give to people who suffer those consequences. I'm really just can't say enough about the nonprofits and what they're doing here to feed the hungry in Cobb County. For the last couple of weekends, I've been working with a church out in South Cobb. It's extraordinary. They put together 700 boxes of food for the week, and we distributed those boxes in about 2.5 hours. The logistics behind that, it was military precision. I was really impressed by all of them, but the volunteers are amazing. The National Guard was there. Again, this is Cobb. This is who we are. We're still one family here. We're all working together for the common good and the greater good of all of us. And because of that teamwork and sense of family, we're going to get through this. And I know that you join me in celebrating the fact that we live in a county where you can still safely work, live, play, and pursue your dreams.
I'd like to give a big thank you to all of our sports teams for helping us rally and unite at a time like this. Thanks for being there for us and sharing some of the stories and updates today. I'd also like to do a big thank you to Cumberland Diamond Exchange. They're going to be sending some speaker gifts out to all of our guests today, and a continued thanks for all you do for our community throughout the years. I want to read a few updates, but before I do, please stay by. We've got a special video we're going to close this out with in just a moment that I hope that you'll get to see, also followed by a prayer given by Donna Middlebrooks from Remax Premier. Marquee Monday would not be possible without the generous support of our year-long sponsor, Superior Plumbing, and today's presenting sponsor, Wellstar Health System. We look forward to reuniting with our other year-long sponsors, such as the Coca-Cola Roxy, Delaware North, Next Page Event Services, and Peachtree Tents and Events as soon as possible. Lastly, a special shout out to Steve Welsh and all the work he's done to be able to help make this virtual Marquee Monday Luncheon a possibility. Thank you so much, Steve Welsh, for all you've done to make today possible. Earlier this week, we announced a drawing for all the registered participants for the chance to win a free admission to Marquee Monday for the remainder of the year. The lucky winner is, drum roll please, Tico Jones with Cobb EMC. Congratulations, Tico. A member of the chamber will get in touch with you soon and get you set up for the rest of the year. We hope that you enjoy today's first ever Marquee Monday Luncheon. I know lunch was delicious, right? We look forward to welcoming you back soon in person as soon as this is possible. Thank you for all of you that were with us today. But if you will, stand by for a special tribute for all of the first responders out there, all of the frontline support staff during this COVID-19. A big heartfelt thank you and appreciation when we talk about the doctors and the nurses and all the essential workers that are at the restaurants and truck deliveries, even all the news broadcasters that are out there that are reporting to work every day to keep us up to date as to what's going on in our community, in our state, and across our nation. A very heartfelt thank you from the Cobb Chamber of Commerce. Thanks again for joining us for Marquee Monday, and let's roll the video. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our Cobb County health caregivers and essential workers.
From the small businesses, the restaurants, the nonprofits, first responders, and other groups who just opened and poured out of their hearts help for our community.
I just want to say a big thank you to all those people that are our frontline heroes, whether that's the first responders, our healthcare workers and providers, our essential workers who are doing those tough tasks on the front line. We just want to say a big thank you to all you guys.
Thank you for all the sacrifices that each one of you are making to give us more time with our loved ones.
I'd like to thank all the frontline healthcare workers, everybody who's out there that's committed to continuing our community, doing the right thing. We really appreciate your efforts. Our entire team is behind you, our players, our coaching staff, our entire organization. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you very much.
We thank our healthcare heroes, our frontline workers, and everybody who contributes to make these difficult times a little bit easier. We at the Hawks, thank you.
People, sanitation people, it's the people at the grocery store. It's the people that drive trucks on our highways to make sure that food gets delivered from wherever it's produced to wherever it needs to be. It's all that group of people that get up every morning and have to go to work, and their work they have to do live. They don't get to do it virtually. The healthcare workers, they're risking their lives every day. So we know that we can't thank them enough. But that other group of people, sometimes I think we need to make sure that, we take our hat off to, and a guy like me always needs a hat, take our hat off to and say thank you.
Good morning, Cobb Chamber family. It's Donna R. Middlebrooks. I want to thank the Chamber for my relationship personally and professionally for this opportunity to speak with you this morning. John, if you can see, I got in full regalia based on today's theme. I have all of my teams represented. Chamber family, I just wanted to share with you this morning some perspective and take you before our Father. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day to serve you in this kingdom. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing your light to not only shine in us, but through us. So Father, as we come before you in this new virtual format to stay connected, Father, we say thank you for this day that we get to see and try in your kingdom for another time. Father, we thank you for those that have gathered to hear a word, Father, from you, Father. I ask that you touch the speakers that are coming before us. May they be enlightened and share what it is they would have to share with us on behalf of their organizations, Father, so that we may grow and learn and be able to share with others. Father, we thank you for the businesses represented in this forum today, Father Jesus. May you grant them wisdom and clarity and peace to understand the decisions that they have to make on behalf of their organizations, their companies, and their families. We thank you for this and all of your many, many blessings, Father. We thank you for the covering over our city. We thank you for the covering of our county. We thank you for the covering of our state. We thank you for the covering of our country. We thank you for the covering globally, Father, that this too shall pass. We ask that you bless all of those, Father Jesus, that are in leadership and decision-making positions over our land, Father, to be emboldened with your power to walk us through to the other side. We thank you in advance for the victory. We thank you in advance for the journey. In your Son, Jesus Christ's name, we pray. Amen. I pray that all of you will have a fabulous day.